Hello, in this video, I'm going to explain the option to do your Module 3 Grade 5 performance task in Canva. In this performance task, you will be asking students to work as a group to participate in a community energy conference. They'll create a poster with details for an energy proposal, and then the proposal is based off of variables in their community, the pros and cons of different energy sources, and impacts these would have. During the conference, quote unquote, you'll present and explain the informative poster to the members of the community, aka their classmates. It'd be helpful during this explanation or video for you to open up the performance task directions so you can see exactly what ELE is asking these students to do. This first document that I'm going to show you is the planning document for the groups. So in the next video, I will show you how to assign this and to find it as a student. I'm also working on some student facing that will be coming a little bit later. So this is the document that you'll share with students first. So first they will read the learning target and understand their job. This gives a little bit more of a scenario scope on what the students will be working on. The first component of this is defining their research focus. So students can choose these 3 focuses, or they can choose a different theme. So how does our local weather help or hinder clean energy? What are long-term effects of our current energy habits? And how can we balance energy needs with protecting our natural resources? So they can write down the focus for their question here. Next, you're going to ask them to formulate some research questions. So they'll find a central question. For example, how can we reduce fossil fuels or the emissions in our local community? How can we save money? These are different items that could be examples for central and supporting questions. You might also need to show students how to add a row if they want to add another question. So you can go to add row here. Click those 3 dots, click add row. All right. The next portion is about research and analyzing sources. So this is a little description of the different sources that are used in research, so primary, secondary, and tertiary. I don't have any primary sources available, but we do have some websites and databases at the bottom for students to be able to go to. In previous performance tasks, research was limited to the resources given by ELE. I think this is a performance task that is safe to open up to a larger database. So, however, you can limit that to just these sources that I provide that I'll show you in a minute. Students would list their sources here. You can control how many you want. So you can always delete rows if you only want them to have 2 sources or 3 sources. That's up to you as the teacher. Then students will synthesize their finding. This is where you start to transition the students into using the template, which I'll show you next. Your final output is a poster. It should include your relevant images, community variables, the proposed energy solutions, and key vocabulary and list of sources. So the next steps are to go to the Canva class or their Google Classroom, select the poster template, include the necessary information from this doc. There's also a checklist on that poster. After they go ahead and make their poster, they can come back and reflect on their learning. So students will answer these questions in the fillable boxes. And then finally, these are the sources that are available for students to use. They can just click from this template. And as you can see, one of them is a primary sort of source from the bloomington.gov sustainability website. I'm sure there are some opportunities to find some primary sources within that website. The environmental blog, National Grid, and then some kids-focused websites on energy. This bottom one has awesome infographics for students. So if they choose to copy and paste, which is something they also need to be taught how to do, that can be either done by 2-finger clicks or they can screenshot and pull in. They do need to make sure that they reference those just like any other template they would use, or research source they would use. Now it says they go to their template to start the digital poster assignment in Canva class. So I will show you what that looks like. Their template for their poster looks like this. It's in a trifold structure on Canva because I felt those templates were very easy to manipulate and had a lot of options for students. So this is the example that you are welcome to show as like the model if you'd like. And then the next slide is their directions. So the job is to create a poster that shows an energy plan. I've already explained that. Here's their checklist straight from the performance task, a little bit simplified and easier to understand. And then it says to go to the next slide, or go to the next slide, they click templates, search for energy solutions, and choose the trifold design for their poster. Come back to this slide to check off items as they go. So you can tell students that if they want, they can go down and just do the strike through once they are done doing each of these. So just a tip, while using templates, students don't need to use every icon, text box, or slot that it gives you. So you'll have to show students how to use this as a baseline. I'll work on a student-facing video for that. So the next part, they will go to slide 3. They will go over to templates. And these are trifold brochure templates. So they're already focused on having that layout with different components for different parts of information. So you can search energy solutions, and students will have the opportunity to choose any of these templates. If you don't want students to do this part, if you don't want them to have the decision fatigue or whatever of choosing a template, you can select some templates for them and add them in here so that they can just choose the one that they want. Okay. It's kind of up to you as the teacher. So that is the gist of how to use this as the teacher-facing side. Next, I will show you how to assign into Canva or Google Classroom.